This is otherwise state champ Alex Thompson. This is Josh Elwer from the University of Northern Iowa, and you're listening to Potentially Dangerous on IA Russell.
Hey, is this heaven?
No, it's Iowa.
From high school to international wrestling, on the mat and beyond, this is the Potentially Dangerous podcast with the guys from IA Russell.
If you're a fighter, you like a fight. If you're an American, you like a fight. If you're an Iowa Hawkeye, you know you're going to get a fight.
Subscribe to our podcast on iTunes and all your podcast-friendly apps. And follow us on social media platforms at IA Russell. Time to strap it up and get to the show. All right, welcome back to Potentially Dangerous. This is episode 110 of Potentially Dangerous, or as Eric shares, we're not really sure. He just makes up numbers that we have. But today I'm joined by Nick Ryder. Spent 5, 6 days, 7 days, I'm not really sure what it was, in Cleveland with this guy, and we had a heck of a time. So have you came back to living like a human being again? I mean, we were on our own, no wives, no kids for me. How you feeling?
I'm pretty sure I'm still hungover, so it's been a rough couple of days. I've been pretty tired. My wife's been sick, so we're just kind of lounging around, not really doing a whole lot around the house.
Yeah, it was. Man, Cleveland was fun. I must say, we were in St. Louis last year. I mean, how would you rate St. Louis to Cleveland?
It's a toss-up. I probably like Cleveland more a little bit. I like the Q Arena. I thought it was pretty cool. I know some people had some complaints about floor size or floor space, but I really liked it. Good video screens are nice and big, and you could see everything and hear everybody, and it was great. I had a great time.
As far as media guy, I mean, we were in the corner, and you kind of had to team up. You could not go on the floor, which is probably great, better for the fans, going from side to end to end. But in the tunnels, I thought it ended up working out all right. They got plenty of TVs in the media work areas. As long as you got a team there, I think you're all right, man. But if you're trying to cover that thing by yourself, like KJ Pilcher maybe doing it by himself, that would have been kind of a grind to get to your seat, upload videos. But overall, the event I thought was great. Announcers were great. Music was great. Thought around the arena FanFest was a kind of a joke to get to.
Yeah, it was a little far away.
It's like you had to, I don't know how many miles it was away.
I think it was like a mile and a half, but it was weird too because like the building it was in, when you first went in, it was kind of like empty, and you had to like go down some stairs and around a corner and then around another corner, and like there everything was. But so that was kind of weird. But I mean, everything else, like the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame was right there, and downtown was pretty cool, especially on St. Patrick's Day with all the craziness there. Plenty of places to eat and drink right around the arena that we may or may not have been at. But
St. Patty's was jammed on Saturday. There's people everywhere.
Yeah, Saturday that's the day we walked to the Fan Fest. It was a show. It was something else.
It's like the state fair and a big wrestling tournament all combined into one on the streets. It was a hell of a sight, that's for sure. As far as the wrestling goes, I mean, I can't imagine that, as someone that covers Northern Iowa, you guys got to be pretty bummed by how that went down. I think if you're Iowa State, you have to be pretty happy. I think he didn't get an All-American, but I felt like Deegan wrestled pretty, he did well. In Iowa, you have to be really happy. Even though you got third, Big Tens was a huge disappointment, so I think them battling back was something to be pretty happy about, I guess. What are your thoughts overall?
I mean, I imagine if you're Iowa State, you all your disappointment was kind of flushed out before the tournament started. So I mean, just me, I expected Deegan to be 0-2, so he vastly exceeded my expectations. But like, Iowa State can't be too excited about only having one guy there.
Yeah, I'm not saying like would they, as far as they finished of what they had there at the NCAA tournament, that they had to be happy
Yeah,
with
I
that.
got you.
Can't be
Yeah,
happy with how they got there. I mean, the preview show's already gone. I mean, you got to be happy with what you got. So
yeah, for sure. UNI though, I mean, yeah, disappointed. I mean, there's no other word for it. Holschlag, everyone is super proud of him. Dropping that first match to Willie Nicholas and then coming back and all the way back on the backside. And, he beat Nicholas again in the round after the blood round. Just a great deal for him. He's such a hard worker. He's just a tiny 197 guy. I mean, I'm bigger than he is. He said he weighed in Friday morning at 195. So, like, there's definitely room to grow there. And he can only get better. But yeah, I mean, Drew Foster only winning one match or one or two. Max Thompson not making it. Josh Albert falling in the first round. I mean, it sucks. Like, there's no other way to put it, really. Phone is blowing up. Alex is texting me. But yeah, I mean, and then Iowa with Spencer Lee. Spencer Lee covers up a lot of holes, I think, for Iowa. Having him and the bonus points and Sam Stoll the bonus points and all the bonus points coming back. I mean, what's not to like there?
well, and going back to Northern Iowa too, everyone's coming back, right?
Yep, UNI loses Jake Hodges, but he didn't wrestle this year. But he is the only. Well, and then there were two other seniors that graduated. But yeah, UNI will bring everybody back, and then next at 165 too, they'll bring Bryce Steyert back, who comes out for redshirt year. So that's a bright spot. They'll probably flip a lot of duels just with Steyert coming back. The South Dakota State duel is a lot closer. The Arizona State duel is a lot closer. There's the Cornell duel will be a lot closer. So just having Steyert back really shores up 165, and hopefully, the other guys on the roster, Drew Foster, Taylor Lujan. Lujan had a great tournament too. I didn't talk about him. He, fell one short of the blood round to Jacoby Smith from Oklahoma State, who is just the most jacked person I've ever seen in real life up close. I mean, it's amazing the shape that guy is in. He's got no fat. He's like the opposite of me. I mean, it's unbelievable how big that guy is and how well he can move and get out of things and get into things. And it's super impressive. And, Lujan got him in the Big 12 at the Big 12 tournament in the semis. Cause Lujan went on to win the Big 12, but, Smith just got him. It was like Schwab says, it was probably 2-2 for Lujan, which would have tied up the match, but that's the way that goes sometimes. But Lujan, I mean, he wrestled well. Gotta get a shot off his feet though, I think, or a more consistent shot. He lets guys into his legs a lot, and sometimes that's great, and sometimes it's not so good. But yeah, I mean, overall, if you're a UNI fan, you can see the positives going forward. There's for sure positives. Everyone's real young. Everyone's coming back, but this was a disappointing tournament for sure.
And there's been some rumors around that Schwab would maybe leaving after a season like this, with the Wisconsin job opening up, in Michigan, and I've heard Minnesota might be opening up too. But you talked to Schwab, right? I got a text message. Is that today or yesterday that you did talk to Schwab, and we're not for sure if if he wouldn't leave or he would leave or.
So I talked to Schwab for a wrap-up interview that I'll be hosting to iwrestle.com, hopefully tomorrow. But I don't think that I don't think he's going to take the job, I don't even think he's interviewed for it or anything. His kids, Hayden and Bob, both, they both come down to Iowa. They're both big into gymnastics and stuff. Wisconsin just doesn't have any gymnastics programs up there. I just don't. They just had twins. They're fully ensconced in Cedar Falls and like in the community up there. I don't see him leaving. But just and things might change later down the road. But I don't see it happening now. I don't see it happening for Wisconsin or Michigan, or anybody else really.
Do you think that Rudy Yates can get down, make 33 again? I mean, I've seen him a couple times, and he's he's a short, stocky kind of guy. I saw him in the Nationals too. I saw him somewhere here recently, and it was Warwick West Gym. He was in the wrestling room, and he looked pretty quick.
Yeah, he's I don't know where he stands now, but I do know that he was significantly overweight, over 133, at the start of the year, and that's one of the reasons why he wasn't wrestling. But I don't know. I know the coaching staff and everyone, fan base, everybody wants to see him down at 133 and wants to see him healthy and wants to see him out on the mat, but I would imagine that they would say that he's got some work to do, on the mat, off the mat, between the ears probably a little bit. But hopefully we see him at 133 next year for UNI. But I don't have any real doubts that we will see him eventually. But consistently and starting every match, I don't know. If I had to pencil in a guy right now, I'd pencil in Jack Wagner.
Yeah, I was going to say about Jack Wagner, where he's planning on going. Another guy I was kind of curious on for this UNI team while we're on the subject here, Tristan Lara. He's made 41. I've heard that his health, is great. It's getting down to 41. Josh Alber didn't have the tournament that we thought he was going to have, especially after he had a great season. I guess what are your thoughts on Alber and that weight class, 41, 49? I mean, 49 is probably locked in, I would imagine, but 41 and 33 are pretty open.
Yeah, I mean, if Lara can get down to 33, he'd for sure push for that. I don't know that he can, at least all year, but we'll see. I imagine too. He probably pushes Alber pretty good in the room. I'm obviously not there, so I can't really say for that. But one thing that UNI has shown, I think, over the years is that they're not afraid to put whoever earns the spot in there. So if Laura's beating Alber up in the room and beats him in a wrestle off, or however they want to determine it, then they're going to put him out there. So they'll see for sure the best guy. It doesn't really matter to me. It doesn't really matter that Alber's a senior. If Lara is ready to go and he's the guy, then he's the guy. That's one thing that they've consistently done under Schwab up there. So we'll see. I don't really know a lot about Lara. Fort Dodge, he was about, I think he had 9 wins this year. Excuse me. Took 4th or something at the Pat, the flash fighting and open. So. We'll see. If he makes strides in the off season, then yeah, throw him out there. Why not for a couple of varsity duels? But I imagine losing that first round will make Albert kind of like snap it together a little bit and
try to kick it in gear. I mean, he's got young guys looking for a spot too. And looking at this lineup, Nick, as far as they've got some seniors, they got some juniors that are going to be on this. They got a ton of freshmen, incoming, redshirt freshmen probably. How are all these scholarships kind of coming together? I mean, is that something that you're privy of? I mean, as a guy like Yates who hasn't been who they thought they'd have on a high scholarships?
So no, I'm not. I don't have any inside information or anything on scholarships. I'd like to, but I don't. I have the feeling that there's quite a bit of money tied up in Rudy Yates, because he was such a high profile guy coming in. But other than that, I don't really have a whole lot of ideas how that's distributed. There's a couple guys that are probably getting quarter or a half in there and earning more as they do well nationally. But other than that, I don't really have any insights. I'm just kind of guessing like everybody else is.
Yeah. Well, there's just a couple people asking. I thought I'd
Sure.
get
Yeah.
your bug while we're here. I mean, should we get down, really to the tournament? I mean, I don't want to break down everything. It's pretty easy. I mean, I feel like it's already been like a week past, but
Yeah.
I think the biggest question at 25 is this what Iowa fans expected they'd have with Spencer Lee, or were they surprised by how dominant he actually was in the finals? Or the whole tournament, I mean,
I was surprised, just because I didn't think that he would do this well. But I don't really know what I'm talking about. So the weird thing to me was that, like, watching Terry in the corner, I think Terry knew exactly what he had right away. I mean, Terry Brandt's like happy in the corner, which is unnerving. Like, there were certain situations where, yeah, he would kind of yell at him and kind of get him going a little bit, but I mean, Terry, he was focused in and he knew exactly what he had and knew exactly what Lee needed to do. But it was Lee crushed it. I mean, there's no, you can throw in whatever adjective you want there, but Lee he's the best like no one ever was.
Yeah, it's I did not expect him to just come blaze firing. I mean, his matchup with Tomasello, I didn't think anybody expected him to get a pin there, but it just adds to the resume there. I mean, he caught him. I mean, he didn't really catch him. He caught him, but like he held the position.
Right.
And that's just something that you just can't teach a wrestler to stay in that position, bail out, or try to go for the two. I mean, he felt like he was in solid position, so I think props to him for coming in a tournament as a true freshman, knocking off guys like Nathan Thomas. So I thought it was absolutely BS that he didn't get the tournament OW. So I asked around people, like, how is this even voted on? And apparently it's voted on right after the finals. Coaches submit their picks. The only logical reason why they would not pick Lee, I think, is if coaches just like, well, we like Penn State, or the emotions of that win from Nickel, just stuck in their mind as that's the reason why Penn State won. But he wasn't the most outstanding wrestler.
No, I don't think so either. He part of it, I mean, his career kind of came into that. There's no other explanation. Well, he was by far the most dominant person I saw. I mean, there's no question about it. I mean, anybody who saw it just knows. And maybe did they fill out the OW award after the finals or before the finals? Because maybe they didn't expect him to win. That's my only explanation. I don't know.
I mean, looking at this weight class, you've got Cruz going out, Tomasello going out, Soriano, he's obviously back. There's been talks that he could be bumping up already to 133. Is Dayton Fix coming in? That is a guy that would contend obviously if he rolls. But is there anybody else really that you see for competition for him?
No. I mean, if there was a year he was going to lose, it was probably going to be this year, and he didn't lose. So
yeah.
I mean, let's just pencil him in as a 4-timer, and I mean, I don't know.
I feel like Dayton Fix is pretty big, so I don't know if he can get to 25.
Yeah, but I don't see it.
He's big, right? You think Fix can beat? You don't think Fix can beat Lee?
I mean, I'm not. I thought Lee would lose to Tomasello, and then I kind of thought Lee would have problems with Nick Piccinini.
Yeah.
But he didn't at all. Like, I mean, so I would just take whatever I say and do the opposite. So it's like, yeah, Fix might give Lee a challenge, but I mean, I'm not betting against Lee at all.
Ronnie Bresser's back. Nate Halverson mentioned that here in the Facebook comments. And by the way, if you're listening to this podcast, not watching us live on Facebook. We're going to try to, we got this new program, Nick Ryder trying it out here. We're going to be trying to do this once a week now that our heads are going to be out of the sand. We've just been grinding out some tournaments. I've been away basically every single weekend since the start of January. So we're going to try to do this more often. So I'll try to come back here on Tuesdays at 8 p.m. So leave your comments. We'd love to hear from you, your questions, pop those into Facebook. But he brought up Bresser too. That's a guy who obviously he beat Lee, a controversial call at Midlands. I wasn't at Midlands, but was that just a big fluke? Was that a fluke?
I mean, it was a controversial.
Or was it just not a bad tournament from Bresser?
It was a controversial call when it happened. Like that Lee didn't have 2 at the end. So I mean, if he gets the 2 there, then it's a totally different situation. He's in the finals, and maybe he's undefeated. So, from what I've seen from Lee, there's no reason to think that he won't continue to improve and just be stupid good for the next 3 years.
I imagine as far as the summer goes, man, he put 57 kilogram guys on notice. I don't see why he's in Iowa City. I don't know who the alternates are going to be there, but I got to imagine that Spencer Lee could be an alternate in Iowa City, and people are going to be he's going to be gunning for people's heads.
Yes.
33 went as planned, I would say. I mean, Iowa obviously didn't have anybody in there representing the state of Iowa, so really skipped that. I mean, Seth Gross. One consistent thing, I don't know about you, Nick, but in and around the arena, everyone's like, oh, man, if we had Seth Gross on our team, we'd be number 1 in the country. Oh, man, if we had Pat Downey in our lineup, we'd be number 1 in the country. Like, Iowa fans literally are living in the past still, or they're, it's so hard to put a team together like Penn State and Ohio State. It just doesn't just happen. I mean, those two, it would have been great to have Seth Gross, but he's in a completely different environment from the University of Iowa, South Dakota State. That's clear. Pat Downey, I mean, that's a whole nother story. So I just don't feel like you can put all your eggs, bad fortune of why the Iowa Hawkeyes didn't, win a national title. I think they, those two and Brandon Sorensen having some success. I don't know what the points would be. I mean, I could figure it out, but they were like 50 points out of the lead.
Yeah, I feel like with just Gross, they'd still be in third. Maybe with Downey, they've been in the race for second. Maybe. I'm bad with numbers, so I don't really know. But yeah, I don't really, there's a lot of, hypothetical talk with Gross and, Downey out there, but they're on the team, so, and Iowa took home third anyway, so realistically, I don't know how much better you could expect. I don't think with the two of them, I don't think they're pushing for first still. I mean, yeah, they're probably better. And expectations going in probably would have been a little bit less. People would have been a little bit less worried. But Iowa took third, and the two really good teams. So I don't think there's any room for too much complaining on their end.
One thing that kind of concerns me is there were a lot of guys that were hurt on this Iowa team. Spencer Lee, but that was done in high school. He bounced back from that. He said that Marinelli's been hurt.
Kim got hurt.
Kemmer got hurt. Stoll's been hurt. I don't know if these guys are getting pushed too hard in the room or what.
Everyone's dinged up. Everyone's got injuries. I don't think that's really anything. Kim's injury, Kim obviously did something in the third place match there, or re-aggravated something, or he obviously wasn't able to continue, but everyone's dinged up. Stoll looked healthy, I thought. I didn't see Stoll get pinned on the front side. I was looking at something else, and then all of a sudden he was on his back. So I don't think anything came into play there. He wasn't limping at all or anything. He didn't look like he has in the past when he was hurt. He's getting bonus points galore, so still I think he's okay. Marinelli looked okay. He got caught a couple of times, I thought, in bad situations, and maybe didn't know how to react or something there, and because he got stuck a couple times.
Yeah, that pin was the quickest pin
of
the tournament. You remember? I don't remember if you were on the mat or not, but it was like a touch fall.
Yeah, it was quick, and
unbelievably quick.
Yeah, if they call them that fast every time, like they probably should. I mean, maybe not, but I don't know. One way or the other, just keep it consistent.
Yeah. Well, going back to how Iowa performs as they go on. Some stats for you. Iowa under Tom Brands, they've had 8 All-Americans as freshmen, 17 as sophomore, 21 as juniors, and only 10 as seniors.
That's kind of weird.
There's a big drop-off from their senior year. I don't know why that is. They see the end of the light of the tunnel or what, but it just seems like lately the seniors have kind of just had some tough time finishing the job, which is I don't know what the answer is. Obviously, I'm not the coach, but
it just seems kind of weird. Do you think as that last chance, you think they'd want to get out there and go? But I don't know. That's weird.
Ross Barczyk wants to know. Shout out to Ross.
Ross.
Him and his wife watching from the hospital. Won't disclose everything, but our thoughts are with you guys. But he can't shut his phone off. He lives and dies by a wrestle. But Ross asked, was there any wrestler from Iowa that didn't make the podium that impressed us?
I cover all the UNI guys. I really like all of them. I thought Lujan looked pretty good. Let me look at my bracket just to make sure I get all the names right.
Taylor Lujan?
Making the quarters. The match he had with Hall, Hall stalled the whole second period. He just stood there and didn't do anything. And, forcing Lujan to take a shot, which is probably smart because, like I said, Lujan needs to develop a sure thing from his feet. But, he gave Hall the closest match he had all day or all tournament. It was only 6-2. Besides Hall's loss, obviously, but I thought Lujan looked good. And it was just unfortunate to draw Smith on the backside in the blood round right away. It's just bad luck. Other than that, Vince Turk came out on fire from what I remember. I missed his first couple matches, but came out with a major in the first one.
Major, he got a was he in a pigtail? He has a pigtail.
Yeah, he's a pigtail and won that.
He's a pigtail and then he won 4-3 and then he wrestled Meredith pretty good. It's 5-2.
Yeah, 5-2.
Yeah. But on the backside, he beat 15th seed. I can't remember who it was. I think I beat. So he won a couple of matches there.
Yeah, he won. Yeah, just won on the backside. But yeah, he looked all right. Probably like we expected. Trying to think. Holshad looked good, but I know he was All-American. But yeah, Lujan and Max Thompson probably for UNI. He won 2 matches on the backside, and then lost to Leaf again in the blood round match 3-2. And he was right in that match. He had to take down and was looking pretty good, but he lost to Boo Llewellyn too on the front side again, in a different sort of style match than what they had the Big 12s. Thompson was able to get to his offense a little bit more, was able to stop Llewellyn from getting in on that right arm deal he's got going on. But I don't even know how to describe it. I'm bad with move names, but and everyone calls everything 10 different things. So, but Thompson looked good. Just one more win and he's an All-American again. So, those 3 guys probably.
It's got to
for
be
me.
Vince Turk. I mean, I think Max Thompson, you expected him to perform better. Vince
Yeah.
Turk, you weren't for sure what the heck he had because they've been going back between Turk and Happel. Who's the right guy? I think they ended up going with the right one, but you never know, and you never know until they're on the big stage. Kemmer, want to get your thoughts on him too. This is a guy that's going to be probably contending with Nolf here. I think the NCAA's committee, sent a message with putting these two seated where they got seated. Really, really hurt Kemmer. But I mean, do you think that he can ever solve Nolf? I mean, I think it was maybe you and I were talking, or he just wrestles him almost like he lets him get takedowns. Was that you that we were talking about that?
It wasn't me, but you're right. Like he definitely wrestles them differently. And I don't know if that's just, hey, it's Penn State, or I don't know what the deal is. If Nolf does something specific against Kim that Kim can't figure it out, but I mean, I don't know that he does figure it out. I mean, what if he can't? Then it's
those are the big wins that Iowa has to figure out. If
Yeah,
they're
right.
going to want to win a national title in this hunt where they've got these, big names here, they're going to have to win. They're going to have to figure out wins like that.
No, I agree. They've got to start beating guys they're not supposed to. And I talked about this with you and I at the midpoint of the year. You got to start beating those top guys if you want to be the top guy. Spencer Lee's done it. Now, where are the rest of the Iowa guys at?
In a tournament like this, Brent Norton asked, and this I think this comes up too a lot in a lot of bar talk. Should Division III, Division II champions be given at-large bids at Division II championships?
I think so. I think it's just fun. Like why not give them a chance? If they want to, what's the problem? What's the harm? What about you?
I don't see why not. I think that it will be the ones that do get in. I mean, they've got to be. There has to be a. I don't think you can just get them all in there. I just feel like it'd be a nightmare for seating committee, or if maybe you put them in a pigtail no matter what.
It's a nightmare for the seating committee anyway. I mean, they seat it one way at one weight and the other way at the other weight. It's just at the end of the day, you got to beat the guy in front of you. So
there's just zero matchups to go off of. There's just nothing that they can base it off of.
That's true. Yeah, I suppose.
Like opponents.
Yeah, right. No, there's no common.
I mean, maybe at Midlands, but they didn't let. There's no Division III there this year that I remember. They stopped inviting Grandview because coaches complained about wins or losses to NAIA hurting their ranking, or hurting their seeding at the NCAA tournament. I think that's BS too that they stop inviting Grandview. I mean, the Midlands is going completely away from what made the tournament so great. Is you see those guys from other divisions, you see people that are in from opens. Supposedly Ben Askren's being in the tournament next year, blah blah blah. But that's what made that tournament so much fun.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely could be a little bit more opened up. I mean, I worry too a little bit about guys who say Askren or bring David Taylor back or something. Maybe I think that's maybe once you graduate, you should just stay away and kind of let the next group kind of come in. I don't have any problem at all with having NAIA or D2 or D3 guys come in. I mean, if you go to a D1 school, you're supposed to be better than those guys. So go out there and beat them. You don't back away. Don't be afraid. Just, go out and wrestle. That doesn't make any sense to me either.
Just trying to think of other places we could go here with this tournament.
I mean, we haven't mentioned you mentioned Brandon Sorensen briefly.
Yeah.
He, not the tournament that he wanted, I'm sure, not the tournament that Iowa fans expected or the Iowa coaches, I'm sure, expected out of him, but still 5th place. He's a 4-time All-American. That's something to hang your hat on. It's a little bit better than me, so I'm not going to, rag on him too much, but, he had a solid tournament. The guy that beat him, Perry from Lockhaven, I thought that guy wrestled a smart match. If Sorensen didn't really take any shots, and Perry kind of stifled him when he did, and I thought Perry did a great job. Like, I'm not faulting him at all, and then he ended up making the finals. So if Sorensen, I should have shot more, should have given himself more chances. There's no excuse for it. But coming back on the backside like he did, I mean, that's good. And, winning that 5th place, that's something still.
I talked to Kurt quite a bit, and we all know that Critter is a huge Iowa homer, right? But like watching some of the the matches, Iowa gets down, they can't come back. And Turk came back. There was someone else that came back for a big win. I believe it was Kemmer, but I mean,
it was Kem, maybe.
Yeah, I feel like if they get down, you almost expect them to lose, and that's what they got to figure out. Obviously, there's no magical solution for that, but people are asking, what's different or what's Penn State doing? Is you always feel like Penn State is in the match, but
no, the difference is Penn State's having fun.
Oh, yeah.
Everyone else.
They're just having fun. That's right.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the magical recipe.
Cale Sanderson only jokes. He's not serious ever. He's always making them laugh. They're always playing dodgeball. I mean, that's the thing that's missing probably, just more dodgeball.
30-minute practices.
Yeah. I don't know. I get a little tired of hearing all about that stuff, but anyway, the fun. You get it. We get it. You're having fun. Just talk about something. Anyway,
AJ Renneker brings this up. Like, what's Penn State doing that no one else is doing? And
they, I don't think anyone takes them out. I think Ohio State ends up redshirting a bunch of guys next year, and maybe Iowa pushes them a little bit more, but next year and maybe the year after. But what are they doing? I mean, they're recruiting the hell out of everybody. I mean, they out-recruited everyone for these guys. And I don't know how they do that. I don't get super into recruiting. I don't get super into the scholarship limit and everything, but they've got the resources, they've got the right coach, they've got the facilities, they've got the attitude, the
Pennsylvania.
Yeah, the geography, they're dialed in, they've got it. But it's not like it's going to be Penn State forever. Someone's going to, Ohio State pushed them this year. Maybe Iowa comes back next year, but they're not going to be on top forever. That's not how it works. Iowa was great for 25 years, and now Penn State's great. It's almost cyclical. I don't think there's a magic formula to it. It's just right now it's Penn State's time.
I think recruiting is the big thing right now that all teams are losing out on. When you start winning, kids want to be around that success. But there's going to be a time. There's going to be a time in what Stephen Pullen brings up. This is a good point. Is with the success of Yanni, with the success of Spencer Lee, kids are going to want to wrestle now. Now they can see that maybe redshirting is not the end-all be-all in wrestling anymore. Kids are going to want to wrestle right now. And if you've got a spot for them, you gotta try to get them in and be like, all right, man, we're gonna give you a shot. No more, sitting out a year, the opportunity to get hurt. I think that is going to be the recruiting tactic going forward. I think it would also make it a little bit easier on the recruiters if you don't have so much more. You have more flip flopping. You have to gamble on that guy that you're wanting to be there. That's going to be your guy. But like, how's Penn State recruiting Brody Teske at Teasdale and Roman Bravo Young there? It's pretty crazy to think that they're still able to bring in a guy like Brody Teske in. I mean, Iowa, he's not going to go to Iowa. Spencer Lee's there. He's going to dominate there. But how's Penn State picking up guys like Brody Teske is crazy to me. And Brody Teske's getting a pretty healthy scholarship, too. Mark Hall didn't go for – and Mark Hall, I heard, didn't go for a full ride. How is a guy like Mark Hall not going for a full ride?
I mean, like I said, I try not to get too far into this stuff. There's too much speculation. Like, we don't know. I don't think we'll ever know, like, for sure how much each person is getting. Not to sound like a total, just like I'm whiffing on that question, but like from what I've seen online, like Mark Hall comes from a roll-off family, so like maybe he can afford to, keep or like afford to not take as many scholarships. I don't know. I read one thing one time that said that. So and I don't know, like, there's all the stories out there about how much revenue Penn State has and all that stuff. And that stuff makes a difference. I'd like to think that it doesn't make that big a difference, but apparently it does. So I really think it's not just one thing. It's a combination of lots of stuff. Like they get the recruits because they're well funded and because Kale's a winner and they've got the right attitude. They've kind of got all that stuff going for them right now. I don't think you can say that, oh, hey, kids just don't want to have fun today. That's why they're all going to Penn State. Or kids don't want to work hard today, so they're avoiding Iowa. Like, it's a combination of things, and right now that combination is just not going Iowa's way, and I think that infuriates Iowa fans so much that they want to find one thing that they can fix. And I think I think that Iowa fans right now are fixed on the recruiting aspect and like, how do we get that turned around? How do we fix that? And from there, they kind of, they raise money for the Hawkeye Wrestling Club, which is great. I love that. They try to solve the problem of facilities, which I don't think personally is a problem, but that's just my opinion. I have been proven wrong on that, I think. But with the new building going up, or the feasibility study of the new building eventually going up, just the way their whole attitude. Terry Brands is out there smiling now, which again is terrifying. I don't like it. I like my Terry Brands mean and angry and bouncing up and down, and I don't like him happy. It's scary. No, that's not my Terry Brands. But it's just everything's kind of snowballed, and that snowball has turned into Penn State, and it's just kind of running right at everybody right now. I don't know if that made any sense, but
yeah, no, people are looking to latch on for a reason, and to me, it's, you see Hawkeye Wrestling Club, all these different there's wrestling clubs, RTCs, figuring out how to go year round. What's Penn State doing? You see their budget. Obviously, they can bring in people from overseas. I mean, talking to Mark Perry, he wants to got to get more people around that Hawkeye Wrestling Club that can give these guys different feels. When you're on a recruiting trip, you come into the Hawkeye Wrestling room and you see guys like Jaden Cox in there, or Nick Wisdowski. Thomas Gilman's there, but Matt, you got Spencer Lee right there. You got to try to find a well balanced. Nothing against the Hawkeye Wrestling Club members right now, but none of them are that big name when a recruit right now comes in that room is like, holy cow, that guy is working out right in front of me. This is where I need to be, right? There's just
And
nobody
that's,
there.
I mean, the only guy that is Gilman, and Tom and Terry pretty much sell 125 and 133 themselves.
Yeah.
They don't necessarily need Thomas Gilman in there. I mean, obviously it helps, but Tom and Terry's track record at those lighter weights speaks for itself.
If they can find a way to, I've told some people this, get Mark Perry somehow on staff, because this guy can recruit really well. It's great to have him on the Hawkeye Wrestling Club, but recruiting is so big right now. You can have him and Morningstar out recruiting, and that would be a huge step. If they could get him on staff somehow, everyone thinks, well, Mark Perry's able to recruit. But I think Iowa, Tom Brands, they're trying to do as much by the book as possible right now, because you got people looking out and trying to get people in trouble.
And that's another thing that I don't know that I buy into. Like, the NCAA doesn't care about wrestling really. Like they just don't. So like maybe there are violations out there, but I don't know. Maybe I'm just too stuck in the mud for it. But like at the end of the day, it's just like, you lost out on a recruit, so now you're trying to find an excuse why you didn't get that recruit, and then you're trying to find that excuse for when your guy loses to that recruit, and then it's just kind of, you just go out there and do the best you can and get your guy, and if you don't get the top guy, then build your guy up. I mean, I don't know. That's kind of a cop out too, because I'm completely sidestepping the issue, but like until we know specifics about specific alleged violations or not, then I'm not. I just think I think it's kind of useless to talk about. Let's
get off of it.
Okay.
Let's go back to Iowa. We got a lot of Iowa fans on the Facebook page right now asking questions, but here's one from Reniker about Iowa State. Do you really think Iowa State can rebuild after losing their best wrestler and barely making any noise this year at the championship? They did lose Storr. That was huge.
Yep. So it depends on what you mean by rebuild. Like if what you mean by rebuild is national championship every other year, compete with Penn State and Iowa, maybe. Like big shrug. I don't know. Because that is years down the road, and not like 4 or 5 years, but like 10 years down the road, more than likely. I mean, there is such a rebuild job there that, they had one qualifier. Like it's a complete rework. If there are people to do it, I really like Dresser. I mean, I don't like Iowa State. It's not a secret, but Dresser, I really like him. He knows what he's doing. He knows what he's talking about. He doesn't screw around. He tells it to you straight. He's a great guy, and he's a great recruiter. And
I'd like the program.
Yeah, he knows what he's doing. He knows how to build the base. He knows how to rebuild or build up a program, and it's great. But it depends on what you mean by rebuild. If you mean like competing for a Big 12 championship with Oklahoma State and UNI and South Dakota State, then sure. That'll bring the Big 12 up, and hopefully that will put the Big 12 in a better place to compete nationally, because the Big 12 did not do very well this year. But national championship every year, I don't know. Maybe work towards beating Iowa once.
Well, here's one thing that if you're an Iowa State fan, he's already rebuilt the fan base. They sold the most season tickets that they've ever had, Iowa State history, which I don't know how the hell you even do that with what they've had the last 5 years and losing multiple duels. It's insane to me. They brought over 250 people to their social for one. There's one guy in the tournament.
That's crazy.
250. I've seen pictures. It's we know Dresser's been known to sell things oversell things sometimes, but I saw pictures. It's true. Only one guy in the tournament. 250 people there. That is damn impressive. They raised over $550,000 in less than a year with no success. Imagine if they start having some success. Guys like Austin Gomez, Marcus Coleman come in. Those are some guys that can have immediate success.
Yeah, for sure.
They've got to have that. Now, rebuilding to what they used to be, you're right. It's going to be 10 years minimum. I mean, unless you just somehow can get blue chippers from 25 to heavyweight within 2 years with a 9.9 scholarships.
Yeah, you can't do it. It's going to take time, and I think everyone expects that.
Or if you hired, they've hired Nate Carr's dad for the cycling regional trainer. So if maybe there's another dad out there with a kid, maybe they say, hey, hire at the cycling regional training center, come wrestle.
That stuff goes on all the time in basketball. I don't see that as a problem.
They, in like wrestling camps, right? Or basketball camps, like running their camps, or are there regional trainer centers in basketball? I don't know how the hell that works.
No, so like the kid in Missouri, the really good kid, his dad got hired on staff, and then that kind of facilitated him going to Missouri. It's not that, like, it sounds kind of shady, but it happens pretty much all the time. There was a kid up in Washington, I think last season, that the same thing happened. Like, where his dad gets hired on staff, and then the kid goes there for a year and plays, and then the dad leaves Washington. So it's really, no big deal.
I think it is skirting the rules a little bit.
Oh yeah, I mean, it's definitely kind of shady, but it's definitely not a rare occurrence. Just because it's happened one time now in wrestling doesn't mean that it's a plague.
It's not like the dad doesn't. I mean, he's a successful coach, 3-time national champ, Olympian. I mean, it's not like he doesn't have a background. I mean,
yeah, right.
So that would raise some flags if he wasn't. So Iowa State, I think, to answer your question, has a long time to rebuild. But as far as the fan base goes and paying those guys salaries, the fans are coming to stay and they're raising some money. So that's pretty good to see. Where are we at here? Any other questions? It's been a good night for questions. I mean, we haven't even really had to work for our podcast tonight, Nick. I mean, you come on and just people want to just pick your brain. I mean, you're like,
yeah, that's
free money, like just paper.
Yeah, I know what I'm talking about.
Greaser, Tyler Greaser, he says NCAA needs to make it harder for these recruits transferring. Rebuild makes time. I mean, you sell Ames on what? Patties and Hy-Vee and Hickory Park. Hickory Park's pretty legit. They just got it in Hickory Park or Jethro's Barbecue. Those guys are gonna be like battling, dude. I mean, this is gonna be pretty. This is gonna be a pretty heated battle in Ames. Have you ever had Hickory Park, Ryder?
No.
Oh my lord.
No. I've been to Ames like 3 times. I don't do Ames very.
Even if you're driving through, Hickory Park is like.
Why would I drive through Ames ever? I don't.
Well, it's Highway 30. It's like kind of how you get through Iowa.
No, it's not. That's called Interstate 80.
I go through 30.
Yeah, but you go north. You live in Des Moines. I don't.
30's old school. That's the way to go.
No, I'll go through Marshalltown and stop at the Maid Rate. That's great. If you've not done that, you should do that.
Oh, speaking of that, we had I thought this was pretty funny. I mean,
I'm trying to scroll through the questions here.
I've got the questions right here. Ross Barczyk asked, "What kind of hole in the wall?" We'll get off wrestling here a little bit. See if we get any more wrestling topics that come in. But Ross asked, "What kind of hole in the walls did I find at NCAA championships?" And I've got 2 words: Corky's place.
Yeah, it was something.
There's actually someone from Ogden watching this, Tyler Greaser. He actually might know the story of Corky, which we won't talk about on this.
No, we're not talking about it.
But it's a heck of a place. We got to meet Clonch, He's a real person. You've met him before. Conchnator from the Blood
Yeah.
Round podcast. Got to meet him. Super cool guy. So every night we went to Corky's place. And this place was like...
I skipped a night.
What?
I skipped a night.
You skipped one night.
Yeah.
You had to...
I chickened out Thursday night.
Yeah, you needed to give the beard a night off. Get a couple extra showers in. But Corky's place, to answer your question, Ross, literally...
it's a hole in the wall.
I can't even explain this place. Literally, we saw a girl wearing a fake Hooters costume being a bartender. We saw a girl wearing green... She had green stuff in her hair.
It was like that. It was like that rope light that
rope
you put
lights
in
her
house.
hair.
It was like in her hair.
Yeah.
That was weird.
I found a bunch of not condoms, tampons on the floor. I mean, this place was really classy, but it was a karaoke place. So you got. We're talking about the state fair. The state fair came to Corky's and just. I mean, we had not high school kids, maybe college kids that were there to have fun and sing karaoke. You got serious pool players. You had serious karaoke people.
There was the Super Smash Brothers, the GameCube version.
Yeah, they had Smash Brothers. I mean,
yeah, that was pretty sweet.
So, Corky's, if you've traveled to national championships with me in the past, people know that Ross is right. I try to find the place that no one really wants to go, and then we make people go to it, and then they end up having a blast. I mean, Cam Kramer was a virgin of going to the national championships, and he could still be in bed.
No,
he might be.
Kramer did all right.
I had to drive us home.
I
had to drive us home, Nick, and everyone knows that I can't drive more than 45 minutes without falling asleep.
That's true.
It's bad.
Yeah, he did okay though. We got some good pictures up. Check out our Flickr page. It's flickr.com/IAWrestle.
Yeah, you guys did. Yeah,
that's right.
The Photogs did some serious work. Probably all the work early this weekend.
Yeah, you guys didn't do anything.
Kirk and I didn't do a whole lot, honestly. They put IRSO clear up in the stands, like ridiculous. And
no, you guys did work too. It was a team effort. I mean, I thought we did well, and looking forward to Pittsburgh.
Yeah, Pittsburgh is around the corner. Unfortunately, I'm not going to the World Cup. You'll be there though.
Yeah, I'll be there taking photos. Hopefully get some of, the only Iowa guy, Thomas Gilman, so some others though. That's gonna be fun. Having the Iranians, if the Iranians come, I know there's all the stuff about them not coming, but all them with the Iowa fans who the Iowa fans won't take it from them, it's gonna be great. I'm super excited.
I want the Iranians to come.
I do too. It would just be because the Iowa fans won't take it. I mean, it's going to be fantastic. I'm very excited.
And you got to think that anybody that didn't go to Cleveland, like, I know a ton of people that are like, we're not going to go to Cleveland. We're going to save our pennies and just party hard in Iowa City.
All right.
And those are the people that are just itching to, like, get some shots in. And now you're cheering on USA. Everyone, it's not Penn State, Iowa, Ohio State. Everyone there is hopefully there to cheer on the United States. A little bummed I can't go, but I need a break.
That's all right. I understand.
I need a break.
We'll hold things down for you.
All right. Well, if anybody got any more questions, put them in the comment section. This has been Potentially Dangerous, episode 110. We're not sure if 109 really counted with Eric Shears and Mac Ryder. But
no, that one counted. That one was great. They did a great job. If you haven't listened to it, it's worth going back and listening to.
Yeah, go back. 109, Eric Shears, and 4-time state champion from Don Bosco, 3-time All-American, I believe, from Minnesota. Mac Ryder, great show. Hopefully we have them on again. They have a podcast called Shots Fired, but they are technically internet. They just can't figure out how to do a podcast on their own, so usually I have to quarterback it. Nick, you can't say anything because you basically had to get AOL dial-up to get on
Hey,
tonight.
I figured it out, all right? Let's calm down.
All right. We are out again, episode 110, Potentially Dangerous. Subscribe, like, share, and check us out next Tuesday. I'm gonna promise you, next Tuesday we're gonna be live. Myself, maybe Ryder, whoever wants to come on. Nick maybe won't have to be in bed by this time. It's a little bit late for him, but we'll be back again. Let us know in the comments after the show what you thought of it. If you like this concept, if you like the time, don't like the time, we can't do it during the day. We've got a real job, so let us know. Thanks for listening.
Get low when the whistle go.